Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about YouTube and YouTube usage among kids. Before I get to that, hey, hit me a like, share, subscribe, smash the button, whatever you like to do. Do that down in the toolbar so I can get bumped up in the algorithms of YouTube. And that's what we're talking about today. The algorithms of YouTube and why I limit the time that I allow my kids to be on, well, basically on the internet. Around the world, in countries like China, children are limited to the internet like 3 hours a week. And that is because it rots the brain. That is only half true. The internet or anything you delve into can rot your brain. And sometimes when we get into one area, we get into this echo chamber that starts to create stress, because then you start to think, why do I understand this but no one else seems to understand it? So my son this morning said, hey Dad, can you make a YouTube video on why it's bad to be on YouTube? And I said, well, I could try. So I said, well, think about that. I'll talk about why we do limitations and stuff. Well, I went to start doing my research this morning with my normal things. I usually listen to the news. I watch a few podcasts. I listen to culture. I see what's trending. And today was one of those tough days because with all the news and the things that I follow, everyone is just talking about Russia and Ukraine. And I'm glad that it's front and center. The problem is I've had to search out of my normal news sources. So I can't just go to my news source or my podcast and say, well, I want to listen to ancient civilizations today. I want to learn about Egyptology. Well, that's not popping up on my screens. All of my stuff is Ukraine, Russia. And with the research that I've already done before the war started, and all the analysis I've already done, I don't want to see that anymore, and I'm being bombarded by it. I spoke to my kids the other day about what war was because I needed them to know that it's not like what's in the textbook. So today, I experienced that. I said, you know what? I need to focus on something. I got to get a couple of chores done. I want to throw a podcast in my ear, and I'll shout out Thoughty too, because he's the one I really like to go to. I like his voice. So, shout out to Thoughty too. He talks about all kinds of cool stuff, but I started to listen to him, but I couldn't find him. Usually he pops up in my subscriptions, but I looked at my subscriptions, I looked at my notifications, and nothing was popping up except Russia. And I had to go search, and I had to search for those things, and the advertisements now on the stuff, if you've got Pandora and you don't pay for the subscription, your advertisements are going to start being propaganda. Propaganda is part of warfare, and when we live in a society that is so interconnected with media, and you could upload a video. Today is Sunday. This video will probably be up in a couple hours. It's so fast to get news out there, and when you have resources and you can get news out there, it gets out there really, really fast. So you've got these 2, 3, 20 factions that are all pushing propaganda, and so you have to weed through what is true. What do we know is true going into this? We know that they push certain narratives. To sell clicks, to sell ads, they have to get you watching. So right now, in a time of war and the last 2 years with the pandemic, the algorithms have allowed people to filter information specifically to you and only the information they want you to have, which creates this truth bias that you feel like you are right and no one else can be right or wrong. Well, if you're not consuming news from both sides and realizing that they're both manipulating you, you kind of forget to be in the middle. So if you think you're super, super smart, realize that you probably aren't as smart as you think. So look at your advertisements. Look at what they are advertising to you. For my kids, let's take some time. Let's breathe, because you can see the change in people's eyes when they go into a different world. Now, we know that the internet and the metaverse and all these things are going to be very important moving forward, and important in the future of our children, because it's going to be an industry. And a lot of our kids are going to see things for the first time in virtual reality instead of real reality. Or reality. I guess it wouldn't be real reality. It would just be reality. So as we move into this new world, we have to be cautious and we have to monitor the content. And for me, it's just as simple as this. My kids are young. I want to be able to look over their shoulder and see what they're watching and listen to what they're hearing. And if I allow them all the time in the world to be on those devices, then I can't do anything if I'm being a good parent. If you're a good parent, you are watching what your kids are watching. You're getting involved a little bit. You don't have to like it, because I sure don't like some of the videos my son watches. But I know the people that he's watching. I know the humor he's getting into. And when things start to get a little scary, we tone us back and say, we're not going to take all this away from you, but that one's not good. We don't like that. Or we hear the things in the background. We don't allow our kids to use their devices. They're in their bedrooms. They're still young. They use their devices in public places. And sometimes that's outside. But they have to do it on a small scale, because we only have so much time with our kids throughout the day. 8 hours, hopefully they're sleeping. And if they're in school, that's another 8 hours. So you've got this little small window where you can spend some great time with your kids. And so many parents will just let their kids come home from school and hand them a device. For us, we want to spend time with our kids, because as they grow older, I think the advice that we can share with them is much better than the advice they're getting from their peers, or even worse, a 20-year-old, 25-year-old person that thinks they know everything about life. Because this came to mind the other day. I was about 22 years old when I had to speak to a church full of teenagers about the attacks on 9/11. I had no idea what I was doing at that time. I didn't even have a kid. I was married, but I had to have the words that would make not only them feel better, but their parents feel better. And I got up there and I said some stuff, and people said thank you, and I honestly couldn't tell you what I said, because it was just words that I thought were true, and maybe they were good words for people to hear. But it wasn't something that I think came from a place of, trying to tell people something untrue. It was from a place of, I didn't have the wisdom that I have now. 5 children later, and 13 years of marriage, and 5 years of marriage, so it's almost 20 years of marriage, if you add up my 2 marriages. But there's a lot more wisdom, and now we're facing another war, and we're watching kids serving with their parents. It sucks. It's terrible. We can't do this anymore. Things are going to continue to move forward, and here's my advice. If you are going to be talking to your kids, make sure you are honest with them. Make sure you're doing preparations so that when things get more expensive, that you guys can have a plan. Make sure that you're taking care of your 4 walls and the people, the beating hearts within your home. Times that are coming are going to be tough, and YouTube and Rumble and anywhere else that you go is going to cause you to only get a portion of the information. And at this point, who knows what information is true and what information is just a deep fake? So I can tell you this. Go back in time and do a little bit of history and see what people are saying now. And just do a quick fact check for yourself. Realize that these fact checkers that are out there, they're not fact checkers, they're spinners. Back a long time ago when I served, it was called, it was the spin crew. You had to find someone who could spin anything. And that's what these fact checkers do. They spin it in the direction of the person that they like. So start listening to things in full context. Start making up your mind for yourself. And most off, watch what people are pushing to you on YouTube, and watch what people are pushing to your kids on YouTube. This is one of those situations where a free service is worth a subscription to get the advertisements off. I subscribe to YouTube. I pay the monthly subscription fee because I don't want to watch the ads. They're a waste of my time. It's not very expensive, but I realized that when I set up my kids' free account and they started to watch ads, they were getting some really raunchy and inappropriate ads for no other reason than they were. So I plugged it all in, and now they don't get ads. Now I just have to watch the raunchy stuff that content creators make. My kids know that I'm a content creator, and they tell people that. The thing is they think that all content creators have what's, other people's best interest at heart. My kids see me making a channel talking to them and their older brother and sister, and they think that all content creators love and they want to project love. I want to protect them from those content creators that are just con artists, people that tell you one thing and then do something else. It's hard to teach kids to be critical thinkers and logical thinkers in a world where so much information is thrown at them and people use truth to manipulate because they take out things and they take things out of context. One of the reasons I try to do all my shows without cuts is because I want people to see the context of what I say. And I just tell people all the time, I may be wrong. Next month, I may be doing a different video saying that kids should spend 24 hours on YouTube. No, I'm not going to be doing that, but I'm willing to be wrong. And when I do research, I find out that oftentimes I am wrong. And when I do a video, it's after I've done a lot of research. So I come with receipts, so to speak. Anyway, so that's it. Limit the time, not necessarily because of the content. Content's easy to monitor. It's the advertisements, because life is really good when you're not drinking that soda or buying those shoes or smelling that way. Life is better when you just take a little time to get away from the screen, step outside, inhale good, exhale bad, and love your family. Until next time, work hard, be kind, and have fun.